At 0347 hours, the Arctic night fractured. Inside the dimly lit operations center at Thule Air Base, radar operators froze as their screens bloomed with hostile geometry. 4 massive radar signatures punching through the northern approach corridors at high speed. They were unmistakable. Too large, too deliberate, too synchronized to be anything else. Tupolev Tu-95, Bear strategic bombers. Cold War relics, yes, but relics that still carry death across continents. Each aircraft was a flying arsenal, capable of launching nuclear-tipped K-55 cruise missiles from more than 3,000 miles away, striking targets without ever crossing into defended airspace. They were approaching Greenland from the northeast in disciplined formation, their vectors precise, intentional. The message required no translation. Challenge. Within 8 minutes, the Arctic sky ignited with response. American F-35 fighters screamed off frozen runways, engines howling into the polar darkness. Their pilots didn't need briefings. They understood instantly what this meant. Russia had just declared, without words, that Greenland was contested territory. This was not a routine patrol. This was not signaling. This was Moscow throwing a direct punch at the most ambitious American strategic play in decades. For months, quietly, deliberately, the United States had been transforming Greenland into the centerpiece of its emerging Arctic empire. New radar installations pierced the ice horizon. Runways at Thule were expanded and reinforced for heavy strategic aircraft. Classified agreements with Denmark laid the groundwork for forward-deployed naval assets. Geological surveys mapped rare earth deposits worth trillions, the raw materials of future wars and technologies. Washington understood what was at stake. Greenland was not just land, it was leverage. A geographic fortress commanding the North Atlantic, the gateway to emerging Arctic shipping lanes, the anchor point for missile defense, surveillance, and power projection across the polar region. Whoever controlled Greenland would control the future of the Arctic economy and the military balance that came with it. But Russia already dominated the Arctic's shipping routes. Russia already operated forward bases capable of projecting power across the polar cap. And now, Moscow had decided America's Greenland gambit had gone too far. The Tu-95 deployment was a calculated provocation. Moscow knew exactly what it was doing. These weren't stealth aircraft. They were propeller-driven behemoths, icons of Cold War intimidation. Russia was resurrecting Cold War playbooks because America's move on Greenland was itself a Cold War-style power grab. The bears could loiter for hours, refuel midair, return day after day. They could strike from international airspace, test reactions, exhaust defenses. Russia wasn't threatening once. Russia was establishing presence. A permanent aerial shadow over Greenland, a reality where American forces would operate under constant Russian surveillance and implicit threat. U.S. intelligence went into overdrive. Satellite imagery revealed the scope of Moscow's commitment. Arctic air bases, mothballed since the Soviet collapse, were roaring back to life. Fuel convoys streamed north. Maintenance crews worked around the clock. Ammunition bunkers were restocked. Runways cleared, reinforced, expanded. This wasn't preparation for flybys. This was infrastructure for sustained operations, a permanent squadron dedicated to a single mission, making America's Greenland expansion painful, dangerous, and politically toxic. Every American ship approaching Greenland would be shadowed, and, every aircraft tracked. Every military exercise was mirrored by a Russian countermove. The Pentagon's response was immediate and, honestly, massive. Within 36 hours, the Secretary of Defense announced Operation Arctic Hammer. 4 carrier strike groups would deploy to the North Atlantic. B-2 stealth bombers would begin regular patrols from Whiteman Air Force Base, demonstrating America's ability to strike anywhere in the Arctic without warning. Most provocatively, the United States would deploy THAAD missile defense systems directly to Greenland. A shield, a statement. One capable of intercepting Russian missiles and fundamentally shifting the strategic balance. The message was nuclear clear. If Russia wanted to play hardball in the Arctic, America had invented the game. But that announcement was only the public face. Behind the scenes, American planners were executing something far more aggressive. Classified orders went out to submarine commanders across the Atlantic. Virginia-class attack submarines, the most advanced undersea warfare platforms on Earth, slipped silently into position around Greenland. Their mission was simple and, honestly, terrifying. Establish total underwater dominance. Any Russian submarine approaching Greenland would be tracked from the moment it left port. Any surface vessel would operate knowing American torpedoes could already be locked on. An invisible wall was forming beneath the ice. Russia's surface fleet would be helpless against it. Moscow responded faster than anyone expected. The Russian defense minister appeared on state television, his announcement sending shockwaves through Washington. Russia would deploy Kinzhal hypersonic missiles to Arctic bases. These are weapons traveling at Mach 10, capable of striking Greenland before American defenses could even react. These were not theoretical systems. They had been combat-tested in Ukraine. They were operational. And now they were pointed directly at American installations. The warning was explicit. Any American military expansion on Greenland would be met with capabilities that rendered traditional defenses obsolete. The nuclear-powered icebreaker Arctica would begin year-round patrols near Greenland, demonstrating Russia's ability to operate where American vessels would struggle to survive. The escalation began to spiral. Planners ran simulation after simulation. What if a bomber was shot down? What if submarines made contact? What if missile defenses intercepted the wrong object at the wrong second? Every scenario ended the same way. Rapid escalation, compressed decision timelines, catastrophic confrontation. The president convened the National Security Council in the Situation Room. The debate was explosive. The CIA director presented intelligence showing Russia was preparing for long-term confrontation, not bluffing. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs argued that American conventional superiority would deter escalation. But the director of national intelligence issued a chilling warning. Putin viewed Greenland as a red line. Russian doctrine allowed for tactical nuclear responses to conventional threats near homeland territory. American planners, she said, were dangerously underestimating Russian resolve. The president decided America would not back down, but it would escalate differently. The United States announced a $50 billion infrastructure package for Greenland. Ports, roads linking remote communities, fiber optic networks, schools, hospitals. It looked humanitarian. It looked economic. Everyone understood what it really was. Buying Greenland's future. American companies would build the infrastructure. American money would flow into every town. Greenland's economy would become so intertwined with U.S. interests that future independence would mean automatic alignment with Washington. It was colonization through development. And it was brilliant.